Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radhe Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. So we can recite these prayers of gratitude to Srila Prabhupada and all of our many teachers. If you know the prayers, please recite it with me. And then we will get started. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Takshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And last time, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome everyone. Hare Krishna. Grateful to be here. I feel, the seat that I'm sitting on, so it's known as a Vyasasana seat. And so many great stalwart look up to, and I deeply love and cherish. I sat on this seat and I feel very unqualified because of my position. And so I'm deeply indebted to be here. This morning, Narsimha Rupa Prabhu came to me right after the morning program and he said, would you like to give the Sunday feast? And I was resistant and hesitant, but I felt like he was a spokesman, a representative for Radha Kalachandji, and so I removed my hesitancy and I agreed to be here. So I'm really honored to be here. I come here often to Dallas. I am not a local here. And I come here many times to see Radha Kalachandji. I feel that they're empowered deities. They're special. I've traveled many places and I have yet to see deities that are so empowered. There's a few out there. And it's very interesting to me how deities, Krishna, right? This is Krishna and Radha. They're the source of everyone's power. And I was reflecting on this, is that they become empowered by the love and devotion of their devotees, like Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's love and devotion, our teacher here who founded this temple and this society, by his love, he empowers Krishna. And I was reflecting on this beautiful relationship between a devotee of Krishna and Krishna. Krishna empowers his devotees. And then the devotees' loving reciprocation to Krishna empowers Krishna. And here, every time I come to Dallas and I enter this temple room, I feel this deep sense of just energy coming from them, this empowered deities of Radha Kalachandji, very, very special. And so I'm really grateful to be here, to be able to just share some reflections, share some realizations that I have learned. And thank you. Today we will be, 2:7, we'll be reading from Bhagavad Gita. Many of you have read Bhagavad Gita? Yes? Is there anyone who's not read Bhagavad Gita? Or heard of Bhagavad Gita? Okay, you're not heard. Okay, beautiful. Welcome. So Bhagavad Gita is this ancient text. Comes from India, but it's way beyond what India is today. It's this ancient text for everyone, and it talks about the science of yoga, the science of connecting to the Supreme. And personally, this Bhagavad Gita has been a great source of shelter in my life. And shelter, when we think of this word shelter, we usually think of, protection, a roof over our head, and we think of nourishment, right? Food in our bellies. That's what we think of when we hear the word shelter. And so the Gita, it provides a shelter. It provides this protection because it says that we're spirit souls in this material world, right? And we're covered and we're in this material body. And so the knowledge that's found in this ancient text known as the Bhagavad Gita, it gives us protection from this material energy. And not only does it give us protection, it also gives us nourishment, food for the soul. Just as we eat, we need nourishment for the body, we need nourishment for the soul. And so we find that in this beautiful text known as the Bhagavad Gita. And so today, we'll be reading this particular verse from the second chapter, verse 7. This is one of my very favorite verses. It's very dear to my heart. And so we'll recite it. I'll chant it once, and then we can all chant it together, and then we'll continue from there. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha पृच्छामि त्वं धर्मसम्मूढचेतः यच्छ्रेयशानिश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं साधिमां त्वं प्रपन्नम्. Would anyone like to try? Arpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha Pritchami tvam dharma samudachetaha Yachreyashanishchitam bruhi tanme Shishyastiham swadimam tvam prapannam. Anyone else? Kalpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha Pritchami tvam dharma samudachetaha Yachreyashanishitam bruhi tanme Shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapanyam. We'll go to translation. So this is Arjuna. He's speaking to Krishna. And the Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna. And Krishna is Supreme Personality, a Godhead. And Arjuna, he is a representative of a soul in this material world. And so Bhagavad Gita is this dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna about all aspects of our life. And so here Arjuna is in a dilemma. He's in a dilemma and he is reaching an interesting point in his life. So Translation: now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada. Can someone? Prabhupada writes, by nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone. Okay. Yeah.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Try.
By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life, which happen without our desire.
They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse.
Who is the man in material perplexities? It is he who doesn't understand the problems of life. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, the perplexed man is described as follows. Yova etad aksharam karki aviti tasma lokat prati sak karpanya. He is the miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human and who thus quits the world like the cats and dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is a most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is the Brahmana, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize this body to solve all the problems of life. Ya etad aksharam karki vidhi tasmat lokat praiti sa Brahmana.
The kripanas or miserly persons waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, country, etc. in the material conception of life. One is often attached to family life, namely to wife, children, and other members, on the basis of skin disease. The Kripana thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or the Kripana thinks his family or society can save him from the verge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals, who take care of children also. Being intelligent, Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the causes of his perplexities. Although he could understand that his duty to fight was awaiting him, still On account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge the duties. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, to make a definite solution. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly tasks or talks. Talks between the master and the disciple are serious. And now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. How Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated in the Gita itself, and yet foolish, mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna's within and without. And one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you all for reading. What a beautiful verse here. I like this verse because I feel this describes a turning point in the lives of everyone, all souls in this world. This turning point of inquiring and turning towards the source of our being, right? And I had this beautiful reflection that Krishna, he's the super soul and we are the souls, and we have this very intimate connection. And what is this connection like? What is the connection between a devotee and the Lord? What is that connection, if you ever wonder? Yeah. Yes. Jivera Suruphoy Krishnera Nityadas. And I was feeling like every soul is on this journey, of the soul ultimately going back home, right? So this home, what is this home? We're all familiar with this feeling of home, right? After a long day, many of us are working professionals or students. You spend a day out doing your things, getting all your responsibilities, your duties done, and then you return home, you take off your shoes, you enter inside, you feel like this comfort. You feel a comfort of I'm home. You see your loved ones, maybe your wife or husband's cooking, you smell, the prasadam's being made, your children are there. It's this sense of deep comfort and home, sense of home. So for the soul, this is who Krishna is. Krishna is this home. That's our shelter. It's very beautiful in Sanskrit, this word sharanagati. I like to think about this often. This word sharanagati means to surrender, but it also means one who takes shelter, right? And so to surrender means one who takes shelter, one who seeks one's home in Krishna, right? And in that home, we feel very protected, we feel nourished, we feel loved, we have all of our desires, needs, everything fulfilled, right? So Krishna is this home for us, right? This is what the Gita describes. And so we are in this material world, right? And in this material world, we are, this first sentence that Prabhupada writes, my favorite sentence, it says, by nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. I feel like we can all relate. We've all been feeling confused or lost or hopeless, not knowing what to do, all of us, no one can deny that we find ourselves in a place in our life, not just once, many times in our life where we are just lost and confused and hopeless, right? Why is that? Why do you think that is? What is the purpose behind these experiences that we have in this world like this? Is it intrinsic to us? Are we meant to experience these uncomfortable situations? Separation. Okay, would you like to elaborate?
I think it is because we are separated from that that depth, that source where all our whatever we experience as a life, we're separated from that. We're very far from that, having this material body, and I think that is why we're always suffering. We're longing for that, but we're disconnected. I think that is why.
That's beautiful. I feel like you just, right at the heart of it, you captured it. You captured the essence of the Gita. You know, we're disconnected, we're separated from our source. And we're trying to feel home in places where home is not there, right? Like misplaced, misdirected sense of belonging, sense of identity, sense of being, right? So what the Gita teaches is that we have to redirect. We have to redirect our identity, who we are. And that's what when we experience these feelings of loss, of discomfort, of not knowing who we are, where we are, it's meant to serve that purpose, right? The reason I like this first sentence so much is because the material world is designed to be a place like this. It's not designed for us to live here happily, permanently. It's not designed. That's not the nature of this world. It's meant to be a little uncomfortable. You know, it's meant to trigger us to evolve, to grow, to question, who am I? What am I doing? Where do I need to go? Who is the source of my being? You know? So this is a turning point, or you can say an awakening, that each soul experiences sooner or later, this life or next life, maybe a couple more lives. But sooner or later, when the soul, through the experience in this world and the evolution that the soul experiences in the consciousness based on karma, the cycle of karma, a soul reaches this point where it wants to turn towards the source. I like that you use separation. That's a very interesting choice of word that you use, separation. Right? So what? Now? Oh, it's sensitive. Yeah, so maybe we can turn it down and just, okay. So we were saying that sooner or later, every soul, understands and turns its face. It's described that our face is turned away from the Lord, from the source. And we're trying to find home, we're trying to find friendship and relationships. But the Gita advises us we have to turn our face towards the Lord. And that's where this, okay, it's just a little, okay. And that's this process of bhakti, right? There's this process of turning towards the Lord. And so what happens next? That's my next question. What happens next when we turn our face towards the Lord? What do we do? What is the next steps? What are thoughts? What do you guys think? Okay.
Try to find people who can guide us, or trying to find people who are also trying to turn towards.
Okay, so look for others, like-minded individuals who are going towards that source, yes?
Questioning first.
Questioning.
Question. Be curious about it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just dive in.
Blindly accept. Yeah, okay, very beautiful. And did you have something in the back?
We try to serve the Lord with loving relationship. We try to build up a loving relationship with the Lord.
Okay, very beautiful. So many varieties of responses. Yeah. So when we know that we have this relationship with the source, we have to inquire, what is my relationship? What is the nature of my relationship with the source? right? We have to ask these questions. Who is the source? Is it just the source? Is that all I know of the source? You know, can I find out more information? What is the source like? Who is the source? What is the nature of the source? And who am I? What is that relationship between the soul, who, you know, we are souls, jivas in this world, and the Supreme, the source? What is the nature, right? And then, like she beautifully expressed, the Bhagavad teaches us that the relationship between the soul and the Supreme is one of love. And it's known as bhakti, right? Krishna says in the Gita, he says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschashmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gnatva vishate tad anantaram. Krishna, who is the source of everyone, is revealed by this bhaktya. What is this bhakti? This devotional service. Service rendered with love and devotion. Right? So the Bhagavad Gita teaches us that when we experience these crises in our life, unlimited crises, we have to turn towards the Lord. The Lord is within our heart as Supersoul, and He's also outside as the Supreme Personality. And when we turn towards the Lord, we have to inquire, we have to submit ourselves, we have to inquire with love. Can you please reveal to me who you are and who I am? You know, this process of, this yoga process is actually a little bit mysterious. It's a little mysterious, rahasya. It's known, described in the Gita. It's not so easy to understand Krishna. You know, Krishna's made it that way. He likes to be covered. He likes to be covered. He doesn't like to be known so easily. You know, he likes to see that, because to know Krishna fully in tattva, this word tattva is very important. You know, we want to know Krishna as He is, not as how we want Him to be. You see the subtle difference? We don't want to know Krishna as we want to know Krishna. We want to understand Krishna as He is in tattva, as Krishna wants to be understood. Right? So this is what the Gita, our teacher Srila Prabhupada, he said, Bhagavad Gita as it is. He put this as it is, because he wants to present the source. In this day and age, it's hard to find things as they are. There's a lot of mistruths, misinformation, right? So we have to inquire. But also, it's not an intellectual process. If we can just use our intellect to know Krishna, we would. But Krishna hasn't designed it to be an intellectual process, which is also very interesting, right? We have to use our intellect, we have to use our buddhi, our intelligence, but ultimately we have to apply it to devotion. We have to use our love and our devotion to understand who is the source, to understand Him in tattva, in complete understanding as He is. And so, this going back to this shelter. Krishna is our shelter, our sense of home. In the Bhagavatam, it's similarly described. Have you guys heard of the Bhagavatam? Yeah? It's like there's Gita, and then when you kind of understand the Gita, the next phase, next level of spiritual understanding is Bhagavatam. And then in the Bhagavatam, there's this beautiful, similar analogy. It's described as a traveler. Have you guys ever traveled? Have you traveled for a little bit longer than a week? And you're like, oh my gosh, I want to go home. You felt that before? Or you guys you're a traveler, you like to travel. Like so it's described in the Bhagavatam. This is the second canto, 8 chapter, somewhere in there. It's described how the soul is like a wandering traveler. And why is it traveling? It's looking for a job, it's looking for resources, it's looking for wealth, it's looking for all these things. But the traveler becomes weary, right? And it passes. What do you do when you travel? You get a hotel, you get a motel, you stay in a motel? Yeah? She's like, no, not I. You stay in a motel. It's described that our life in the scheme of this whole existence is like passing a night in a hotel, in a motel. A dark night in a motel. But we have a home that we return to. Right? So this is Bhagavatam has this beautiful analogy of a traveler after being away from home in a long, arduous journey, returns home. And that home is Krishna. And that home is reached when we render loving service. Right? When we get to know Krishna in Tattva, Krishna says, anybody who knows me fully, immediately they're guaranteed they will be able to come home. Right? So we have to render bhakti, devotional service to Krishna. And by that process of devotion, of love, we can reach Krishna. So then the next question is, okay, we can follow the sequence that we're in this world facing trials, tribulations, uncomfortableness, all kinds of crises all the time, right? So we have to turn our face towards the Lord. And then we have to inquire, who is the Lord? Who am I? What's our relationship? And then the Gita teaches us it's one of bhakti, it's one of loving exchanges. And so then what is this process? Is it as simple as I offer my love to Krishna? What is this process? I would like to ask you all. What is this process of bhakti? Any thoughts? Ninefold processes. Yes, this is from Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj's teachings. Prahlad Maharaj was another great devotee. In this Bhagavatam, you'll find stories of so many varieties of devotees, and all they have a unique relationship with Krishna. Right? So one such devotee is Prahlad Maharaj, and he gives his 9 processes of bhakti, and it starts with Shravanam. So when we take to this process, we have to start hearing. Simple as that. Our bhakti, our love and devotion starts with hearing. Isn't that profound? Simply by rendering our ears and listening attentively, we have started our journey to Krishna. We have started this loving journey to Krishna. So why is this hearing process so important? Why do you think that is? Why is Shravanam, this hearing process, important? Why is it important to hear this knowledge and learn this knowledge? Yes. So these sounds that we hear, especially these, like we just chanted this mantra, right? This sloka, verse we can say. And these Sanskrit vibrations are so powerful, right? They cleanse our consciousness. It's actually recommended if you're ever having like a low day, you're feeling like, okay, you're feeling lost, you just open up a Gita and you start chanting in Sanskrit. It's a very powerful experience. And you're all welcome. Any chapter you open up and you start chanting, and don't stop until you feel the difference in your consciousness. Yeah? So it's very beautiful. So this hearing process, our heart, what happens in our heart is that it slowly cleanses, because our heart is covered. When I say heart, I mean our soul, and our soul is covered. Many layers of coverings, subtle coverings, and then gross, this physical body coverings. Right, so when we start this hearing process, as simple as that, we just hear a little bit of Gita every day, or Bhagavatam, and we start hearing, then slowly these coverings, we let go of those coverings, they come off. Actually, Krishna, he is the supreme personality of God, and he has no job in the whole world, actually, but he has one job. He has one job, and that job is that he's responsible for cleansing our heart. He's responsible for cleaning all these coverings. That's his only job. And so he facilitates so many experiences for devotees so that they can cleanse their heart, remove all these false coverings. That's Krishna's job. That's his job description. You see? So this hearing process, what it does is it cleanses our consciousness. And who we are comes out. Right? So it starts with hearing. And it's really beautiful because it's described that simultaneously as these 9 processes are going, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam. So first is hearing, then is chanting. There's 2 forms of chanting. There's mantra meditation chanting, right? And there's like personal mantra meditation where we sit and we spend some quality alone time with Krishna, with Guru and Krishna. And then there's kirtan, where we spend time with Krishna with everyone. These are the 2 types of kirtanam, 2 types of chanting. Right? So first is hearing, and then comes chanting, or this kirtanam, or sharing. So one is chanting the Maha Mantra, and the other is this knowledge that you find in the Gita, right? And the Bhagavatam. This is also a form of chanting. When we speak, when we use our speech to talk about the source, we use our speech to talk about the Supreme, then that purifies our consciousness. And that's what we're meant to do, right? We're meant to speak, we're meant to talk and converse with each other about the source. We're meant to share realizations with each other. We're meant to help each other go back home, right? We don't want to travel alone. We want to travel with a whole family, a whole party together. Yeah, who wants to be alone? It's actually not our nature to be alone. Did you know that? It's not our nature to be alone. Krishna is never alone, actually. You see Krishna here, he's surrounded by Radharani. She's a supreme goddess. You know, he's surrounded by, there's more who are not there, but Krishna's always surrounded. Just like that, we're never meant to be fully alone. We're meant to always be with Krishna, with others. I feel many people have this fear in spiritual life. They feel that if I take to spiritual life, I'll have to leave my family, I'll have to leave my friends, I'll have no one. Right? You guys ever have that fear? If I take too seriously to spiritual life, I'll have to leave everything. But I'm attached to my, friends and family. Why do I have to leave them? Some people have this fear. But it's the opposite. It's the opposite. When we take to Krishna consciousness, we actually gain a bigger family. So you should be prepared, you'll have like a bigger extended family rather than leaving. You have all the whole world actually becomes your family. Right? Because every soul is part and parcel of Krishna. Every soul is coming from the source. So that makes us all related as a one big family. Right? So it's really beautiful. Sorry, I drifted off. Coming back to how it's beautiful, we have this relationship with Krishna, and we go through this hearing process to cleanse our consciousness so that we can enter into this loving relationship with Krishna. And I wanted to I'll end here, I'll close up here, and then we can have questions and answers. So if you have any thoughts, please keep them for a little bit longer. I wanted to share this heart space, right? We were talking about the soul, right? And how the soul is covered, right? So it's described in these bhakti texts that a gift given by our teachers is the seed of bhakti. Bhakti, it's like a gift given to all of us, right? But the seed of bhakti, seed of love, it is not capable of growing in a heart, right, that is not prepared to receive it. It's just like a land, right? If you sow a seed in a land and the land is not fertile, Right? Do you expect that seed to sprout even if you water it? No, it's difficult, right? You'll be frustrated. Why? Why isn't it? So it's described that we have to, our heart is like a field. This is described, that our heart is like a field, and we're given this seed of bhakti, given by our great teachers, by other devotees, so many, right? Bhakti is given to us. It's a gift that is given to us. But we have to prepare our heart. And how do we prepare our heart? You'll be surprised by being grateful, by gratitude. Gratitude is essential to establishing, cultivating our heart, the field of our heart. Gratitude is essential. It's described, I was just hearing earlier today, my teacher, he was describing how he said, akrita gya hridaye, an ungrateful being, nature, an ungrateful mentality. One who possesses an ungrateful mentality can never fully experience bhakti. Bhakti, or this love, cannot flourish in the environment of being ungrateful. And then he said, the opposite of that. What is the opposite of ungrateful? Is having a grateful heart. Being grateful, and in that environment, this bhakti, this love, this devotion, and our souls can flourish. Right? So it's really beautiful. And actually, it's described how gratitude is the stepping stone to us realizing our relationship with the Lord, the Supreme. Gratitude. Gratitude gives shraddha, is what my teacher said, which I thought was so amazing. How faith, there's an element of faith that we have to have, this trust. What is faith? It's trust. Trust in the source. Right? How does that come? Through gratefulness. Through gratefulness. By being grateful to, of course, the source, being grateful to our teachers, being grateful to other living entities, being grateful to Mother Earth, being grateful to the Mother Cow, right? So through gratefulness, we develop this, we cultivate the field of our heart, and we can practice devotion to Krishna and return home to Krishna. Okay? So I'll end here. It's 6:11. If anyone has thoughts, reflections, questions, comments, anything.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much for this amazing class.
Thank you.
Mataji, towards the end you were talking about gratefulness. So like in everyday life we have become so much trained to forget being grateful.
Yeah.
And this eventually takes shape in our everyday sadhana, everyday practice as well. How do we ensure that we continuously practice gratitude and become grateful again?
That's a beautiful question. Earlier today I was also reading about gratitude. And I was reading this research where it said that to be grateful, great feelings of gratefulness are enhanced when we realize what the other person has done for us. When we realize what others have right? If somebody has specifically sacrificed something for you and done something for you, naturally this feeling of gratefulness is there. So why isn't the gratefulness coming? Because we haven't realized what others have done for us. Whoever it is, our parents, our teachers, even Krishna. We haven't realized what has Krishna done for us. So when we inquire, when we learn what is Krishna given us, then naturally this feeling of gratitude will come. Right? What has Krishna given us? What has he sacrificed for us? So we have to think of it like that. Of course, gratitude we have to cultivate. It's like a cultivation. We have to work on it. We have to practice it. Because our mind is conditioned by the society that we live in to not have this mood of gratitude. Right? So we have to undo that conditioning and rewire ourselves. But along with that, along with cultivating this habit of gratitude, we have to understand. And as soon as we understand all the sacrifices that are made, naturally it will come. This mood of gratitude. So instead of thinking of ourselves, I was thinking, like, we make a list of, okay, I am grateful for this, this, this. We can make a list of what others have done for me. And it's amazing when you realize, a mother specifically, we don't realize how much a mother gives. We say I'm grateful for my mother, but we should make a list of all the things my mother has done for me. And naturally, that gratitude will pour out of your heart, out of our hearts. Just one thought. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes, Kaylee.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Amiya
Krishna.
Radhika, Mataji.
Hare
Really
Krishna.
appreciate your class and this emphasis on gratitude, gratefulness. Thank you. My question is, earlier you mentioned about when we start to turn to the Lord, and many people gave different answers of what kind of response, what mood we should have.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about this inquiry we should inquire from those who are connected to the Lord. So what kind of inquiry should we have? I mean, we might read a lot of things in Bhagavad Gita, or we read Bhagavatam, the 9 processes of devotional service.
Yeah.
So if we're engaging in these processes, or at least trying, what kind of inquiry should we have when we start to seek the Lord?
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful question. Before I get there, I just wanted to say, in my journey of Bhagavad Gita, so far I've read it maybe 4 to 5 times. Not a lot, And one thing I have learned is that we want to understand the Gita wholly. Wholly meaning like fully, like completely, And so many times we reference the Gita, we understand it, but we kind of take it out of context. So it's important that when we reference and when we inquire, we kind of put it into perspective. That's very important. The whole truth, the absolute truth. Bhagavatam, where Gita finishes, Bhagavatam picks up. And Bhagavatam, the first verse in Bhagavatam is, I meditate on the absolute truth. Meaning the absolute truth contains all of reality. And in this verse, it answers your question. We have to inquire into our ultimate good. So Arjuna here, he didn't say just, he said, what was it? One second. I'll pull it up. Yat Shreyashan Nishchitam Bruhitanme. He inquired to what is the absolute greater good. Right? We inquire based on, there's Shreyas and there's Preyas, right? There's immediate benefits, immediate results, but then there's ultimate results, ultimate benefits. So we have to inquire long term, eternal term. Right? There's more that can be said. We can talk more about it. But yeah. But inquiry is important, and how to inquire, what to inquire. This is also given in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, it's very beautiful. Okay, shall we? One more? Okay, anyone else? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to meet their expectations too. But that would mean that we are again expected to connect to the materialistic world because we have to meet their expectations while being devoted to them. So it's a dilemma. Like,
Yeah, I hear you.
so how?
Yeah, thank you. That's actually a very relevant question for all of us, right? I think many of us are in a position of family, having friends, our siblings, if you have dependents, children, husband, wife. And so it's important that you say we have to be devoted to them. We have to understand what is our responsibility. What is my responsibility to my husband, my children, my parents, my sibling? What is my responsibility? The Gita teaches us that my responsibility is to help them also come closer to the source. That's my responsibility. And it's unique for each and every, soul. Right? So, but that's your duty. It's not necessarily that we have to fulfill their expectations. It's described like if you have a child, right? Your child will have some expectations that you're not going to want to fulfill. They might want to expect to put their hand in the fire, just one example. And as a parent, are you going to sanction that? Because it's not good for them, right? So it's important that we educate ourselves. What is my responsibility? This is one of the questions in the Gita that's also answered. What is my duty to my friends and my family and society and country? Right? What is my duty? And then how can I serve them? How can I serve them come closer to that truth? And would you like to add anything more to that, Narsimha? Understanding that we are meant to engage everything in Krishna service. They are also part and parcel of Krishna. Right? Each of us, whether we realize it or not, we're connected to the source. Right? And so we have to, when we connect it to the source, actually it creates harmony. In this material world, what happens is we put ourselves in the center. Right? If each of us, we put ourselves in the center, right, it creates disharmony because we're all trying to be in the center. Right? It's I, me, and mine in the center. But when we learn, what we learn from the Gita and what we learn in spirituality is that we put the source in the center of all relationships, of all of our experiences and actions in this world. And when we put the source in the center, right, then slowly, there's harmony that is created. Because everyone's desire is also, how can I serve Krishna? How can I serve the source? So that's important. And that shift takes place within us. That shift happens in us before we can share that shift. We have to first establish that within ourselves. So it's many things. We have to educate ourselves. We have to learn what is our duty, what is our responsibility. We have to put Krishna in the center. And like that. Okay? Thank you. He has one more question. Sorry, is that okay? Yeah. Yeah, Mike is...
I wanted to ask about this phase where in Sanskrit you call it vairagya.
Oh, vairagya.
And it's a very deep thing for me. So looking at the sky, it's very deep, right? Like the vast universe, Akash Ganga.
Yes.
It's eternal. And me existing here alone, like when I'm by myself, it's like that vairagya, it tries to devour.
It tries to?
Devour.
Devour.
Yeah. I don't know how you call it, anxiety, or you could call it anything. I probably will be labeled as a patient if I talk about it like largely, you know what I mean? But what I meant was like, there's this immense sense of anxiety, and how do you cope with that? Like in your past life, before you obviously started somewhere. How did you get into it? What was it like? Like what clicked
For, you mean bhakti?
In bhakti.
In bhakti. Wow.
Where did you start? I would like to know that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. Well, you asked me two separate things. First, I'd like to talk about this detachment, this vairagya. Is it okay if I have some time?
Yeah, I think if like 1 or 2 minutes, and then maybe you both could connect.
Yes,
after
we can
class.
continue this after class for sure. I'll just say that there's what we think is detachment is not actually detachment, basically put. You know, we're taught that real detachment is an internal renunciation. It has nothing external to do in this world. Real detachment, real vairagya, means renouncing the idea that I am the center, and I'm the enjoyer, I'm the proprietor, I'm the controller. I'm not. So real detachment is detaching ourselves from this identification. That's vairagya. It's different. It doesn't mean isolation. It doesn't mean we let go, or we remove ourselves from society. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean we're meant to be alone. I'm detached, so I'm meant to be alone. That's not what it means. Because we can be alone but still harbor illusions in our consciousness. Right? So that's real. We have to understand what is actually detachment. That's what these books, they teach us. Real detachment is attachment to the source. Real detachment is attachment to Krishna. That's what real detachment is. That's reality. Yes. Yes, detachment is impossible without attachment. Because it's our nature, it's who we intrinsically are. Like people, you know, they do a lot of meditation and they like to quiet, they just get rid of thoughts. But it's not possible. It's not possible to just get rid of thoughts. Our mind is supposed to think. But we have to transform our thoughts. We have to spiritualize our thoughts, our mind. Because we have a mind, we'll always have thoughts. We have to change the quality. So real detachment is actually attachment to the source, attachment to the Supreme. It changes, it's a whole paradigm shift when you realize that and when you implement it in your life. It shifts your paradigm. Yeah. Okay, thank you.